Welcome to the It's Not That Hard to Homeschool podcast, where homeschooling is made easy and enjoyable. Hey there, homeschool heroes. I'm Lisa Nearing, your host and fellow homeschooling adventurer. I'm thrilled to share tips and stories that will help you confidently, competently, and even contentedly navigate homeschooling. So let's jump in and make this journey a whole lot of fun. Hello, everybody. It is Lisa from It's Not That Hard to Homeschool podcast. We believe that every parent can confidently, competently, and even contentedly homeschool their kids. So we're so glad you're here. We have a great show in store for you. I am here with my friend, Nancy Manos, and Nancy has started a podcast on homeschooling and AI. Nancy, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks so much, Lisa. It's exciting to be with you.
Exciting to have you here. We've known each other for several years, but I just noticed your new podcast. I was like, I've got to have you on. How on earth did you decide to do a podcast dedicated to homeschooling and AI?
Well, obviously, I'm passionate about homeschooling. I homeschooled my girls from preschool through high school, and I've always been interested in technology. And just in the last few years, with the increasing advent of AI as far as everyday use, I've just really wanted to learn more and more about it. I use it in lots of different areas of my life, and I thought this is an area that not many people are talking about yet in the homeschool world. And I think there's some really fascinating conversations to be had around it.
Right. Do you think you're going to have enough content to make a whole podcast that goes on and on with it?
Yes, ma'am. I do
That's
think
like a trick
so.
question. I think so too. I don't think you're going to run out of content anytime soon. I've been talking about AI and the fourth industrial revolution at conventions and on the podcast for years at this point. And I've noticed a lot of homeschoolers are either totally embracing AI or they're staying completely away from it. Is that what you've seen too?
Yeah, there is definitely extremes in the or opposite ends of the spectrum, not extremes,
Yeah.
but definitely there's those that are embracing it and those that are like either skeptical and maybe a little curious or are like, we want nothing to do with this. So I
Yeah.
think it really is everybody across that range.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think AI makes people more valuable if they have that skill or less valuable? I know this is kind of a trick question too because we live in an AI rich world. I think that there's no going back. This is just the world we live in and we need to figure out how to navigate it. Do you think really understanding AI skills does make people more valuable or less valuable in some ways?
Well, I think employers are looking for employees already that
Mhm.
are AI literate, AI skilled.
Yeah.
And so as we raise our kids and grandkids, I'm not raising my grandkids, but I have grandkids. But just that this next generation needs to be prepared for the future that lies ahead of them. And
Hmm.
so how do we navigate that,
Yeah.
with wisdom and discernment and in a way that prepares them for the world ahead?
Yeah. I've read so much recently about how online usage is really damaging kids' brains. It's really creating white matter, not gray matter. It's disabling connections in the brain and really damaging plasticity and stuff like that. What do you think about that? Like, we need to be AI savvy to have jobs in so many ways, but being online all the time is really not good for our brain. How do we help parents balance that?
Well, I think the way that we prepare our kids for a world where they're using digital tools, I mean, they're digital natives, right?
Yeah.
Um, we prepare them by doing real things. We want them to have good research skills and critical thinking, good communication, creativity, resilience. Like there's so many, they need to do real things to
Hmm.
be prepared to engage with technology. And so it seems a little counterintuitive, I guess, but I think the more real things you do, real relationships, the better equipped um, teens
Hmm.
and young adults will be to use technology and AI thoughtfully and wisely and with integrity because they've got good relationships. They've learned to ask good questions. They've
Hmm.
learned to do thinking without outsourcing their thinking to AI. So then
Hmm.
when you use it, it can be a thinking assistant. It can help you
Yes.
think broader, faster than you could have on your own, but with an idea you came up with on your own, if that makes sense.
Right. It
So you
makes
don't
total sense.
outsource your thinking.
Right, right. You mentioned digital natives, and I want to just kind of step back and go back to that term because we hear that all the time. Our kids are digital natives, but what we've noticed at True North Academy is that the kids really don't have a lot of online skills. They might have grown up with a lot of digital technology around them, and they know how to manage the apps and the games that they play, but they don't know how to do a lot of, like, they don't have a Google Suite kind of acumen under their belt. Let's be honest, they don't know how to use it in a professional manner. Even
Right.
uploading and downloading, we found even with our high school students, we're having to stop class and show them where to find things, what the path is, how to, make it secure, how to upload it and download it. So I think digital native it suggests something that isn't necessarily happening with our kids. Is
That's
that
true.
your experience too?
Yes, I mean, well, I look at my grandkids even, they've grown up with, they know how to turn on a movie and they wouldn't know what to do if there was a commercial. Like when we watched
Yeah.
TV, what is this? Can I watch another? Where's the next one? So I think there is a digital aspect to the world that they've grown up in. But you're right. And that's an opportunity for us as homeschoolers. One, I think because as homeschoolers, we're a little bit more cautious and by and large, I think homeschoolers do tend to introduce technology and things slower, which is an asset because they are developing those real skills. But then we have this opportunity to teach our kids things. And I think we have to stop as parents because you know how to use Excel, you know how to do all these things, Google Drive, whatever. Because we know how to do them, we don't always stop and think, I actually need to teach my children the steps involved. So we have
Yeah.
a great opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. It does seem so intuitive to us that we kind of assume our kids it's going to be intuitive to them. I love how you said just a little bit slower and teach your kids how to think. Don't outsource the thinking because that is really going to set our kids apart, regardless of what tools they can use or not.
Right.
So if you homeschooled your kids, did you homeschool them all the way through, like
Yep.
from kindergarten through high school? I thought
Preschool
you
through high
did.
school.
Yeah, right. So if you did all this without AI, I mean,
Yes.
right?
I
Yeah,
did it before social media. I started before the internet. So,
same here. I think we were like just getting a microwave when we started, maybe. I mean, like we're ancient, but if you were redesigning education from scratch right now, what would you keep? What would you eliminate? And what would you add?
well, I think you keep the foundational skills,
Mhm.
reading, writing, communication,
Yeah.
logic, a knowledge of history, science, the Bible,
Hmm.
memorization skills,
Yeah.
building the muscle of learning. I think we need the tension of pushing through something that we don't know how to do. Like
Mhm.
there is a gift there.
Yeah.
So I think AI can probably help with some of these things, but these foundational things shape the way that kids think and interact with the world. And it also shapes the way they interact with technology. So I would keep foundational skills.
Hmm.
I would eliminate busy work,
Hmm.
worksheets for worksheet's sake, assignments that measure completion and not understanding.
Hmm.
So things that aren't, that just take up time. Like let's do real things that matter, that are building skills. I would explicitly teach things like evaluating sources. In
Hmm.
the age of AI, you've probably asked ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini a question and you've got back a completely false information, or it's only slightly false. It sounds
Right.
really convincing.
Yeah.
So I think evaluating sources, recognizing bias, asking better questions.
Mm.
Then there's media literacy, AI literacy, ethical reasoning, and real world learning.
Mhm.
Like I think all of those things are things I would make sure that we're teaching because
Yeah.
they need to experience AI. They need experiences. I'm sorry. They need experiences that AI cannot provide,
Yeah.
like apprenticeships or entrepreneurship or service, volunteering, leadership, and problem solving with real people. Like
Mm.
there's something about working together with others that develops skills that you cannot get watching a course or doing something online.
Hmm.
So I think the bottom line of that is that the future belongs to people who can think and act, not just gather information.
Hmm. There's so much information to be had. I mean, you can pick up your phone and just like Google anything from all time, and you have that info right there in the palm of your hand. But it's how do you curate that information?
Right.
And how do you know how to curate it with wisdom? Not just, I mean, I think that's part of it. You touched on so many things. You touched on resiliency. And I love that because I think a lot of our kids are really struggling with is things we feel like as parents, we want our kids to have kind of friction free lives. And that's just probably not that realistic. And yet, we live in a time where, as middle class Americans, we live better than most kings throughout all time in history. So, our kids really have it pretty easy in so many ways. How do we build resiliency when at a few clicks they can get kind of like food delivered and information and all those kind of things. I love what you said, real relationships, real experiences. Would you add anything to that?
I think allowing them to struggle, and it's hard. I'm one of those moms and grandmas that's like, oh, how can I make that easier for you?
Yeah.
When our grandboys come and visit, our daughter always, she's like, Mom and Dad, you wait on them. Like they can get up and go throw their plate away or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I tend towards that. But I think the thing we need to realize is we're robbing them of the opportunity to build that muscle of resilience and grit.
Yeah.
And so letting them struggle a little bit, letting them figure things out,
Hmm.
find a solution without me telling you, the
Right.
whole like step by step. We
Yes.
also need to guide them step by step through some things, but I think giving them that practice
Right.
is a gift.
Yeah, I think allowing friction to happen because real learning involves friction. Most of us who have learned or accomplished stuff knows that there's been some friction along the way. And I think the other thing too is allowing our kids to be bored,
Yes.
like removing the devices, removing the constant stream of entertainment, and letting them just have unstructured, unelectronic filled days where they
Yeah.
have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, those old timey things where you just sit in a room with a book and a cat and drink
Oh,
your
yeah.
tea and read a book. You also mentioned humanities, and my daughter and I were just discussing this because the number one degree being taken out of college are humanities degrees. But
Really.
you mentioned really focusing on the humanities. So tell me what you mean by that, and why is that still so very important when colleges are saying not so important anymore?
Well, I expect that because you can pick up your phone and ask ChatGPT a question, you can process all your thoughts and it will give you an answer.
Yeah,
Um, Really studying things that can't be done with an AI quick answer. You
yeah,
know, I think that there is a skill there that is developed and it will make us more valuable in a world where AI exists.
yeah.
It's the human things that make
Mhm.
us more valuable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the humanities should teach that, right? Like wisdom, goodness, beauty, truth, all of those kind of
Yes.
things.
Yep.
Yeah. You've touched on this before, but anything else that you would want to share about homeschoolers and how they might have a unique advantage in an AI driven future?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think there's many advantages we have as homeschoolers. Flexibility.
Hmm.
We can customize our children's education. We can adapt quickly. We have time. We have the
Hmm.
gift of time. So
Right.
flexibility is one, that it's relationship-centered learning.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's our whole world is built on conversation and relationship with our kids.
Yeah.
And so personalized education, I think, is a huge advantage that homeschoolers have. That we, like I said, we can tailor it to their unique needs, interests, weaknesses, strengths, that kind of thing. And then I
Hmm.
think character formation gives
Hmm.
us an advantage because human nature is to take the path of least resistance.
Yes.
So if I can write an essay in 3 seconds by asking ChatGPT, you've bypassed something. But if you can spend time teaching your children things like character and faith and
Hmm.
responsibility and purpose, then they will be equipped to use AI with integrity.
Hmm. Right. Exactly. Um, yeah, I think that's so important because there are so many opportunities. Um, with AI, I mean, my husband and I were talking, there's such a low entry point to even starting a business right now. You can just go on YouTube. You can ask chat how to make a business, what should you focus on? Go join YouTube for free and basically start selling something. It's crazy. It is literally direct entry. But if we teach our kids character and things like that, what things are worthy of our time, what things are worthy of selling, that's really the advantage. I would 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
What do you think parents and in general, but all of us, I mean, parents specifically, but all of us generally, what are the wrong questions or the wrong concerns we have about AI?
Well, I think there are a lot of sorry. I think there are a lot of good questions to ask. But some of the wrong questions, I don't think you start with what AI tool should I use? What platform is the best? How do I do prompting? I think those are secondary questions.
Hmm.
The bettering questions to start with are things like that can't be outsourced, that are human, strictly
Hmm.
human, like judgment and relationships and responsibility, all the things we've been talking about. Um, we want to help our kids understand that technology can shape habits. And
Hmm.
so, how do we live wisely? So, that's the question we should be asking. Instead of how do I keep up with I think a lot of parents are feeling overwhelmed. I know I do. And
Right.
I'm following podcasts and watching webinars and taking classes and attending conferences to learn AI, and I feel overwhelmed. So
Hmm.
I think we need to keep ourselves out of the weeds a little bit. You don't have to know all the tools. How do
Right.
I learn it all? How do I become an expert to teach my child is the wrong question. You
Mm-hmm.
are a guide. You're learning with your kids. And
Hmm.
that's kind of classic homeschooler, right? If you didn't love history in high school, you can love history now because you're
Yeah.
learning alongside your kids. And I
Right.
think it's the same with technology. It isn't how do I learn it all so I can teach my kids? It's how do I learn with my kids?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I just want to offer some hope for parents who might feel overwhelmed because AI is changing so very quickly. It's changing every industry very, very quickly. I mean, just the medical field, that with the use of AI, they 3D printed and implanted a thorax, and the donor body did not reject it. Now they're thinking about 3D printing with the help of AI, venous organs, which means any organs that have to be connected to the bloodstream. And this is crazy talk. This is sci-fi. That's just one example, but it's changing industry, and you couple it with Internet of Things and robotics, and we are living in such a incredible time. Things are moving very, very quickly. How do we keep up? But I just want to offer a word of encouragement. When I was born and raised and went through high school and college, there was no AI, there was no internet, there was not a like I rode my bike to work after I graduated from college. You know what I mean? Like it was a very low tech kind of world, and that's fine. And yet, I own online businesses, I work with AI on the regular. And if you know how to think, you can learn how to use AI and you can learn how to use it responsibly and ethically. So, don't think you have to know all about AI so you can teach your kids all about AI because you don't. Secondly, AI is changing really, really quickly. And so, yeah, you're constantly looking for what's the new tool, what's going to make sense for my field and my industry and what my goals are. How do you help parents navigate all the choices though, Nancy? I mean, that's one thing we really work to do at True North is help parents find clarity about what is really appropriate stuff to study for the world in which their kids are going to live and work. How do you do that same kind of clarity focus for parents wondering what to do with AI?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've covered a lot as far as like real questions and discussion, but I think if you have not touched AI and you were like, okay, I need to be prepared to help my kids, I would say like, can you open up a laptop and connect it to your big TV so that everybody's sitting on the couch looking together, and maybe you ask a question and you all kind of assess, okay, did it give us a true answer? Is it accurate? How do we know it's true? Where do we go to find, verify? That kind of thing. So you could actually explore it together. The great thing about AI is you could say to ChatGPT or Claude or any of the large language model chatbot type things, hey, we're a Christian homeschool family. We don't know anything about using AI. Where do we start? and it
Hmm.
will give you the steps. And so
Yes.
that's the beauty of it. It's more than just an ask and answer type machine. It
Hmm.
really does give, so much, it's so much more vast
Hmm.
than, hey Siri, how do I do XYZ, right?
Right. 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 Yeah. And once
Okay,
you get
I
into
found this on the web.
uh, speaking of tools, I love it.
Sorry.
No
So
problem.
I shouldn't have said that.
Oh my gosh, that's great. No, I think that's a great idea is just to ask, I do that all the time. What else am I not thinking about? What should I explore? What should I research? Just ask the tool that you're using how to explore it. I mean, that's a great tool right there. Are there other books or resources that you found that are particularly helpful? Anything that you can, this is an on the spot question. So
That's all
yeah.
right. I am currently reading, I have it right here on my desk. I'm currently reading this book by Misty Phillip. I don't know if I'm holding it up right, but
Oh,
it's The
okay.
Trojan Horse of the Digital Age: Why Christians Must Discern AI. I've just begun reading it. I'm like 3 chapters in, and I will tell you, I'm very impressed. It's an excellent resource. Things are changing so fast that I don't even know where do you start? Where do you point somebody? So I guess I would just say look at who's talking about it from a
Mhm.
faith-based perspective,
Right.
and then who are they following? Are there YouTube channels they're following, podcasts, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't, other than this one book, like I said, I'm just reading this and it is phenomenal.
Okay. Who's it by again?
Misty Phillip.
Got it. Okay. To be read, adding it to the pile. Thanks for that resource. I think AI is an incredible tool. Do you think there's a certain age parents should introduce AI to their kids and why?
Well, I think earlier years, like if it was me, I would not have my young children interacting with AI. You might start making them aware that AI exists because they're going to hear about it.
Yes.
But I think it's really more your late, probably junior and senior high teen
Hmm.
years where you don't want to graduate your child and send them out to the world and they've never touched a computer, social media, or, technology like AI. You want the opportunity to walk alongside them. So
Hmm.
I think with some boundaries and some guidelines, the teen years are a great opportunity to
Hmm.
introduce them, but keeping in mind that human nature is the path of least resistance, right? And so,
Yeah.
you don't want them to outsource their thinking or bypass the learning process. But I do
Hmm.
think those teen years are a phenomenal opportunity to
Hmm.
have great conversations and start exploring the tools together.
Right. I just want a word of caution to parents. Put some guardrails around them. It's still the internet, and there's been AI has hallucinations, but it also has a liberal bias, and that's actually been verified. It also might take your kids down a direction that might not be healthy for them emotionally or spiritually. So one of the rules we always had is if people were using computers in the house, they had to be in a public location and anybody could check what they were working on until they became adults and they were out of our house because listen, it's not that I don't trust my kids or your kids, it's that I don't trust the 5 million nefarious people out there trying to get to my kids and your kids. So
Yes.
parents, beware and be parental. It's your job to put guardrails around your kids and protect them. And I don't think I'm being too paranoid. There's actually been lawsuits against
Oh,
big tech companies because of the sad path their kids went down on just not even knowing because kids are kids and they're naive. I mean, they don't know the things,
no, that's
so
right.
yeah. What do you really want parents to take away about AI? What is your vision for parents in your podcast as you talk about AI? And yeah, what do you really want them to know about it?
I think we don't have to be afraid.
Hmm.
Um, there are scary things, very scary things about AI in particular, but the internet and social media as well.
Oh yes.
Um, God is not surprised at that
Hmm.
we live in this period of history and that this technology exists, and He is walking alongside us. So I think we don't want to be in fear.
Hmm.
Um, we can be confident and brave in exploring and learning new things, and we can model for our children how to navigate this with integrity, with wisdom, with discernment. And so I think that we have an amazing opportunity as parents. So
Hmm.
that I think, don't be afraid.
I
is
love that.
probably
Yes.
my,
Exactly. In my talks on AI, I was like, is an amazing tool. Could it be the end of the world as we know it? Possibly, but until then, I'm here for the revolution. I want to this kind of goes back. I should have asked this at the very beginning of the podcast, but I didn't. Your kids are graduated. You're not homeschooling your grandkids, so I know you're very involved in their lives. Why are you still speaking to homeschoolers? And I love the fact that you're taking AI on head on because there is so little information that's really quality information. So I appreciate that you're doing that. Why are you still involved in the homeschooling space? Tell us
oh,
all about that.
well, I loved homeschooling my kids. It was a joy, and I want other parents to enjoy this time. I think sometimes we get in the weeds with the academics and the I can't teach math and my kid's got a bad attitude and nobody's motivated today or whatever, but we can enjoy the season with our kids. And so my husband and I served on the board of directors for our statewide homeschool organization in Arizona for 16 years. And I'm still speaking at homeschool conferences, and I run the national conference for leaders of statewide homeschool organizations. And I love everything about the culture of homeschooling, parents being with their children and discipling them. And so if my experience and what we've walked through, if God can use that to encourage someone else, I stand here with my hands open and just willing to serve because it is a gift. Like homeschooling, is it's the time that you have with your kids is fleeting. Those 18 years fly by in an instant. Now, if you have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, you might feel like it will never end.
Right?
But when you're done, you're like, where did the time go? And now my grandkids are 7 and 10, and I'm like, where did those years go? So I just think we're given a gift to be able to spend the time with them. And I want to encourage parents in that.
I love it. You have been so involved in helping parents get off the beaten path of industrialized education so that they can provide a personalized education for their kids. And that I really believe is one of the best gifts we can give our kids. And particularly now, as we go into this highly tech world is having a personalized education where they know who they are,
Yeah.
what skills they have, what skills they need, but how to get them is one of the greatest educational programs we can provide for our kids. So, yeah, thank you for all your years of service. And I know you were really a leader way back when it was laws were being passed and things were being changed at the legislative um, level for homeschoolers around the country. So thank you so much for the time that you and your husband and your family invested in making homeschooling safe and legal for all of us to do. Um, and you've really created a path for not just homeschooling, but micro schools and hybrid schools. And like education is just busting wide open. There's so many opportunities for families right now. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share before we close? And tell us where to find your podcast.
Well, sorry, I have this frog in my throat. My website is nancymanos.com,
Mhm.
and the podcast name is AI and Your Homeschool, and it's on YouTube and all the places, Spotify and
Yep.
Apple Podcasts and things. I have a free family discussion guide that
Awesome.
asks questions for parents to think about, for teens to reflect on, and then family discussion questions and some
Mhm.
real life scenarios to think about relating to AI. So if you're like, we don't even know what we think about this other than we're not sure we want to step into it, this
Right.
guide could be a great help.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll put those in the show notes. You guys make sure you go to nancymanos.com and check out the podcast. I'm so excited you've offered this to everybody to come and learn and glean from your years of experience and maybe take some of the fear factor away as we, dive into AI. Well, you guys, thanks for listening to another episode of It's Not That Hard to Homeschool. We believe that you can confidently, competently, and even contentedly homeschool your kids. It's not that hard. You can do it. We'll talk to you next time.